like to welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. And we're going to begin our meeting today with an invocation from Megan Grigg, Church of the Latter-day Saints, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Linville. I'd like to come on up, Megan. I'd like to mention this is her third time in the last year we had this little conversation. So please come forward. Thank you, and please stand if you're able.
Father in heaven, blessed we are to gather together, servants of thy people. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to care for one another, to hear each other's concerns, that we might make our city the best place to be for our citizens. The time that we have to just understand one another and do what's best for us. We ask for peace, for kindness, for grace, and for mercy, that we might have productive meetings. And we pray for you and ask you to do things in our Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks again, Ms. Griggs. Thank you. Citizens who are interested in participating in the public session portion of the meeting, you may do so by calling 336-422-1200, 336-422-1200. You'll be placed on hold until the public session begins. And of course, any member of the audience who wishes to participate may do so by filling out a speaker card, and you can actually do that even now and return it to our clerk. First item on the agenda is approval of minutes for the December 18th, 2025 meeting. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Motion approved by Vice Chair Wisenhunt. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Madam Clerk, do we have any calls or cards for the public session?
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any speakers or callers.
All righty. Now I think Madam County Manager, I think we're ready for the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon, Commissioner, staff, and guests. The agenda items before you have been briefed and hopefully questions answered. Agenda item number 3 is a resolution setting compensation for the Forsyth County Consolidated Health and Human Services Board. This is a 17-member appointed board, and this would authorize reimbursement in the amount of $25 per meeting to members who wish to opt in to receive the per diem.
Thank you. Do we have a motion? Motion approved by Commissioner Bessie. I'm happy to second that. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 4 is a resolution authorizing execution of an interlocal agreement with the City of Winston-Salem for participation in the Home Investment Partnership. This would authorize our participation and acceptance of $221,000 in funding to operate a housing rehab and first-time homebuyers down payment assistance program from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2030. There were some questions at the last briefing, and a report was emailed to all board members.
And that was appreciated. And is there a motion? Motion approved by Commissioner Bessie. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner McDaniel. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 5 is a resolution authorizing execution of a funding agreement with North Carolina Housing Finance Agency for administration of the 2027 Essential Single-Family Loan Pool Program. This would authorize our participation and acceptance of $182,000 to operate the housing rehab program for the period July 2025 through December 2027.
Is there a motion? Motion approved by Commissioner Bessie. Is there a second? We have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 6 is a resolution awarding a revenue contract to McDaniel Supply Company, Inc. for on-site inmate commissary services for the Law Enforcement Detention Center. This would authorize a contract at a commission rate of 43.5% for the period February 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner McDaniel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Any discussion?
Yes, I do just want to put on record that originally, I think that what came before us was that the O'Keefe Commissary Network was the lowest bidder. And so obviously there has been some issues with that lowest bidder, and we're to the next lowest. But I wanted to put that on record.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 7 is a resolution awarding and authorizing execution of a purchase order to Emergency Transportation Associates LLC for the purchase of 2 new cab and chassis units with remount of animal control bodies in the amount of $79,452 per unit for a total amount not to exceed $158,904. And then Part B is a resolution awarding and authorizing execution of a purchase order to Modern Chevrolet LLC for the purchase of 5 vehicles. These are vehicles for general services and Parks and Rec for a total not to exceed $263,816. And Part C is a resolution awarding and authorizing execution of a purchase order to Capital Ford, Inc. for the purchase of 4 vehicles. These are purchasing 4 Ford Maverick hybrid trucks for public health, general services, and the airport for a total amount not to exceed $116,811.20.
That's good. Do we have a motion?
Move approval of A, B, and C.
Motion from Vice Chair Wizenhut for parts A, B, and C. Is there a second? We have a second from Commissioner Wilson. Any discussion? I just want to make a comment. I appreciate all the preparation and all the extra bidders we got on that. That was a lot of good work. It was a good presentation. I don't know if I mentioned that on Monday. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 8 is a resolution authorizing execution of a purchase order to Store Office Environments of the Triad LLC for purchase of furniture for the agricultural park project in the amount of $321,076.97 for base bid and bid alternates 1 through 5, plus an allowance not to exceed $20,000 for the purchase and installation of additional furniture needs identified as the project closes out, with the total amount of the purchase order not to exceed $341,076.97.
We have a motion.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Linville. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 9 is a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase and installation of replacement rooftop units at the Walkertown Branch Library in an amount not to exceed $117,378.21.
We have a motion.
Move approval.
Motion approved by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 10 is a resolution authorizing the grant and execution of an easement to the City of Winston-Salem across a portion of Forsyth County-owned real property located at 0 Topsider Drive. This would allow an easement for the Tanglewood Business Park Sewer Outfall Project.
Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Motion approved by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Happy to second that. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item number 11 is a resolution awarding and authorizing execution of an agreement with NAI Piedmont Triad LLC for brokerage services. This is a second agreement to complete the sale of the property of the Hall of Justice to Med Solutions Compounding Pharmacy. If the transaction is completed, the county will pay NAI the required 6%.
Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Bessie. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Motion passes 6-1.
Agenda item number 12 has 2 options. Option A is a resolution authorizing the county manager to solicit fair market value offers to purchase county-owned real property, and B is a resolution authorizing publication of an offer to purchase county-owned real property by negotiated offer, advertisement, and upset bids procedures. These items are related to the Tanglewood Business Park project, and I am going to ask Deputy County Manager Kyle Haney to provide an update.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So at the briefing on Monday, we did
disclosed that the Village of Clemens had indicated that they may be interested in putting in an offer on this property. And so they met Monday night and the Village Council did vote to provide an offer, which we received on Tuesday. The details of that offer is they offered $5 million, but specifically that were coming from a sewer reserve account held with the Utilities Commission. That account is funded by a surcharge that Clemens residents pay on their sewer bills. And so they had proposed to transfer that funds to the county in exchange for the property. We worked with the Utilities Commission as well as our attorney's office to analyze that. And that agreement is controlled by interlocal agreement, and that was found to be an unlawful offer. So we did not bring that to you because really we are not able to accept that offer. Courtney Driver, the Utilities Commission director, is here if you do want to hear from her, but we want to provide you an update since we did receive that.
Go ahead.
Has our county attorney, I'm sorry, did you say? that-
Yes, sir. The utilities attorney and our county attorney both reviewed the offer and provided that feedback.
And it's not ambiguous, it's
I'll be happy to weigh in on that. I contacted the village attorney, Al Benshoff, at the end of last week, and he was kind of in the dark. This is when the offer was just being formed, and I asked him if it were possible to use this capital reserve account to fund the purchase of the property, and he said he didn't know. But he sent me the agreement, and it's important to note that this is a restated agreement that was signed by the village just November 24th. So it was signed around Thanksgiving of last year, and the Utility Commission just approved it on their end this week. And the language states that the capital reserve account can only be used for 4 particular purposes, but those are all tied to what's called, and it's capitalized because it's defined, the subject water and sewer system. And the definition of subject water and sewer systems talks about expansion and extensions of the sewer system within the village of Clemens. And so that money can only be used within the village of Clemens. It couldn't be used, for example, by the county to expand something around, the southeast of the county or the Beltway. So the use they're proposing is not permissible. As soon as I received the offer dated January 13th, I reached out again by email to the village attorney, and he said the availability of the use of the, he said the village's access to the capital reserve account is the same as it was. So he wouldn't come out and say they don't have access to it, but it hasn't changed, so they don't have access to it.
Any other questions about that? All right. Let's see. We haven't had a do you have anything else to say, Madam County Manager, before we ask for a
I
motion?
do not.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt option B.
Is there a second? A motion by Vice Chair Wisdom. I was seeing if A and B were connected there. B is fine. A motion by Vice Chair Wisdom Hunt for option B. Is there a second? Well, I'll second the motion so we can discuss it. Is there any discussion?
Well, it certainly gives us an opportunity to have a higher bid, and we have seen by experience that it works very well. The example is Amos Cottage, and I would like to be able to receive the highest bid as possible.
Other discussion?
I've been going back and forth on whether or not I thought that we would potentially gain interested bidders who might not be prepared to submit a bid within the time frame of the upset bid process. And I'm still uncertain about that. I wondered if we might have a brief comment or two from our property search lead staff member,
that's appropriate.
Sure.
Commissioner, thank you. If I understand you correctly, it's, the county has sold or solicited offers two different ways in the past. One, you have sort of an offer period, which is sort of what I believe you're talking about. We did that on Clemens Library. Board opened up offers, and on Amos Cottage for, let's say, 90 days. And we said, submit your offer. At the end of 90 days, the board will review those and then may, in its discretion, choose to advertise an offer for upset bids. And then you have sort of a rolling offer period. The reason, and that's where just, you bring them to the board as they come in. And that's sort of what happened with Tanglewood. We didn't quite get to that point where the board made a decision on that. And then, from a brokerage perspective, if you receive an offer, you bring it to your fiduciary, which would be the board in this case. So that's where we are today.
Well, I guess my question is really whether you have any sense we might be likely to receive more bid interest if we did a formal offer period before moving forward with an upset bid process.
That's a tough one because you have an offer in front of you now, and those folks may choose to not submit that offer if you then went into an offer period. So that's one potential scenario. I have not heard directly from other developers that would be interested in submitting offers. I've heard that other folks may have. I'll say this is a little bit of an evolving situation because in the past the board has confined the potential use of the property to limited light industrial. And it's only recently that it seemed that the board may be open to uses other than that, like residential. So that was a little bit of an evolving scenario. So I don't know is sort of the question, sort of the response to that. I just don't know.
Since we've kind of been equivocal about the question of whether we would be open to purely residential offer, if we were to cite that openness in a formal public notice of solicitation of bids, then I'm still sort of leaning toward a conclusion that more potential bidders would find it worth their while to put together an offer. How long does it typically take one of the developers who does this kind of project to put that together?
It really just depends. I mean, I think on their ability to put up that sort of financing that quickly. Larger offers, of course, that's going to take a little more time. In Amos Cottage's scenario, we've had folks able to turn it around within the 10-day period. When the board has done this in the past, I think you've set an offer window of 90 days. So we could certainly do that. We could certainly do that here and try to publicize that. I think what I would suggest if the board decides to go that way is to be clear that you are open to uses beyond the limited light industrial. And that's sort of what that initial resolution was focused on. It was amending or dissolving the restrictive covenants that were on the property because they confine it to that limited light industrial use. And so this is, it'd be hard to say. I've asked folks as they've submitted upset bids in the past, say, how did you find out about this? How can we do a better job of getting in front of you, just so I know for future scenarios? The Business Journal is a big way that developers look for that. And I'll say you've gotten a lot of press in that so far. So I think the word is out there that this process is in the works. But I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does. And I probably would prefer to go with option B. We wouldn't necessarily have to do a 90-day period, but even a 30-day period might make a difference in putting together the financing for a specific bid.
At the end of if we approve this option B to basically accept and start the upset bid process at 10 days, as I understand, at the end of 10 days, we don't have to accept anything. We can stop. But can we postpone at that point?
It's in your, and I'll defer to the county attorney, who's welcome to jump in at any time. I mean, it's within the board's discretion to reject all offers at the end of that process.
But then that would end the process.
It would. What you did with Skyland, actually, that received several upset bids, is you had an offer in front of you, and you said, you know what, rather than open an offer period, which I think we did have in Skyland's case, instead of opening another offer period, we'll just delay publication of that offer for a week, and then we'll start the 10-day period. So effectively, you gave folks more time, but you still had that 10-day period that was approved by the board and started a week later or whenever the clerk got that processed. That was another way that you've handled that in the past.
And that's a way to do what you're suggesting for at least another week to extent, or, to extent that makes a difference. You're suggesting 30 days would make a difference, and
30 days or even, a couple of weeks. May I ask Commissioner Wisnut, what would you think about adding a delayed publication date to the process?
Well, I don't mind delaying it for a short period of time, but I don't want to go a long period of time. We may lose our offer if we don't start the process pretty soon.
14 days?
Pardon?
14 days?
That's okay.
All right,
Well, what, go over again, when is the last point we can go to and then say either yes or no?
So in this scenario, if I understand correctly, the board would delay publication of the $4 million offer for 2 weeks. Then it would go out for a 10-day upset bid period. Assuming there were no other bids, that would then come back to you for approval. So at that point, that would be your chance to reject that bid and to do something different. So you would have another official action that you would have to take to accept that bid and go under contract. So essentially, in this scenario, you've got another month essentially for that's going to come back to you at a minimum.
So if there was not a higher offer, then we would accept or not officially.
It would be, that's right. The board would have to act to do something, whether that be to accept that offer or to reject the results of the upset bid process.
Where I think, well, I don't intend to do that. Well, I just leave it at that. I wish you or the attorney one, if you don't want to, he can. When we were in the process and was just about started and then it was a no-go, what was the specific reason that we didn't go further on developing the property?
If you're speaking about the Bovern deal, that I think we kind of put the cart before the horse. So we sold the property for them to come in and develop a facility there, and we hadn't completely secured the access to the site. There was an understanding that the Village of Clemens was going to allow that, but then they had certain demands on road improvements and whatnot. So it as my recollection is that it became, it was not feasible at that point.
Well, wouldn't it, I know that it was about that, but it seemed like to me that we was officially blocked by action. Is that correct or not?
I don't know if we were officially blocked, but we didn't have the permission, I believe, from the village to connect to their village road. And at that point, we didn't have a railway crossing.
Well, that's official action of being blocked, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be happy to give a little bit more context. So there was about 100 feet of road improvements that needed to be done on Topsire Drive, which was a village road. And they were asking for over $2 million of off-site improvements to be done in order to grant that. And so that the board at that point said, we were not willing to put that in, so.
Well, the reason I keep going back to that point is because how many years back has that been? 5?
2018.
Longer than that.
I think it's 2018, 2019, yeah.
What?
About 6 or 7 years, yes, sir.
Well, it's some of the board members, maybe they do now, didn't know specifically what happened. And so we were at a point of ready to proceed, and that happened. So be aware that the ones that, I think it was 3 that was not here, that they knew exactly what happened, that we had gone that far, we was making efforts. The way I see the whole thing now is, with what we have invested in the property, including the sewer, we're just, I've just about come to the conclusion it's kind of, I see it kind of as partially as a giveaway. We're giving away some assets. I guess it'd be arguable how much, but so. But anyway, just as long as I know we got I didn't want to sell it to begin with, and I just was kind of open to seeing what was out there, and I still have the opinion, well, I don't think we're going to get offered what I believe it to be worth. Was a sewer there. When the sewer was put there and all the enhancements to it, when that was finished, I'd say that immediately doubled the value of the property, if not more. So anyway, just as long as it's still got another stopping point.
Yes, sir.
If I may ask, could you remind me of the property value, the tax value on this land?
Yes, ma'am. The tax value is roughly $3 million, and that's from memory. And again, it's non-taxable property, so they don't spend a ton of time valuing that. We had a commercial real estate firm that really specializes in site selection industrial property look at the property during the HDR study. And we gave them our reports on it. We showed them that we're putting sewer in, all that great stuff. And they came back with a broker opinion of value, piecing together the lots, that was roughly $4 million.
Okay, fair enough. Yep, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
If a real estate company had it, you're not asking me, I'm just
Yes,
offering
sir.
an observation to everybody.
I understand.
If a real estate company had it in their hands and controlled it, they would be asking far more than that. They would, if somebody gave them that offer, they'd just go on about their way and looking for another deal.
Call the question.
Any other discussion?
Well, it's been referred to by at least one other commissioner as a white elephant. It's been around a long time, and, I think we need to cut our losses on this. I endorse option B as well, which I think is more than gracious.
And the planning director reminded me, I just wanted to bring this up, that if you do go with option B, that would be to list the upset bid, and that may progress. And if the county accepts that offer and that moves forward, at some point there would need to be a formal public hearing on the rezoning. So that would be the last step in terms of what you all decide to do.
And back to the 14-day issue. Yes. Commissioner Bessie suggested a 14-day extension. Vice Chair Wisenhunt accepted that as part of her motion. I seconded, so I'd be glad to include that 14-day as a part of the second that new motion. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Agenda item numbers 13 through 15 are our reports. 13 is the October Appropriations Transfer Report, 14 is the November Appropriations Transfer Report, and 15 is the November Contribution-Based Benefit Cap Report.
Move to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Linville to accept reports. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Wizenhut. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
During the board briefing, the meeting schedule came up. If that is something that the board wants to consider, you would need to vote to add it as an agenda item and then vote to adopt the change. So I don't know if someone wanted to make a motion on that. That is for the winter work session, changing on January 29th from starting at 9 a.m. to starting at 1 p.m.
Yes, and I'll make a motion to add it as an agenda item.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Added as an agenda item.
I will now make a motion that the January 29th workshop be moved from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And before we go, we do have adjourn, we do have a planning and development services update from Chris Murphy about UDO CC 31, which will be coming forward in our next cycle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will not take long. This is a request to amend the UDO, and this is in reference to your adoption of Forward 2045, our new comprehensive plan. This text amendment would change references in the UDO that currently say Legacy or Legacy 2030. It would change those plan names to the plan name Forward 2045 in various places all throughout the ordinance. It would also strike the existing definition for Legacy 2030 and replace it with the definition for Forward 2045. It also would take anywhere it has the word Metro Activity Center and Community Activity Center. We have changed our nomenclature in our plans to just activity centers. So it would change the more specific recommendations for Metro and Community to just an activity center. This went to Planning Board back in October. It went to Council Committee in November and was adopted by City Council in December. And so we're just here to make this administrative change. Whenever you adopted Forward 2045 back in the spring as part of your adopting resolution, we actually already included something in that adopting resolution that gave us the ability to refer to the new comp plan when we were doing staff reports and those kind of things. But this just goes back and actually cleans up the ordinance. And with that, I stand ready to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chris? All righty. Thank you very much. There's no further business. We're adjourned early. Quick meeting.